AMM 270, Chapter 2, What is Visual Merchandising? And again, so sorry for all the technical difficulties. I'm still trying to get the computer to work. So just bear with me. There's all these pop-ups that I can't seem to fix. So anyhow, just bear with me. This is just to make up for the day we're losing. So Chapter 2, What is Visual Merchandising? And this is going to be review because I've talked about it already. Visual merchandising, and we're always going to abbreviate it VM, was formerly known as display. That's what we used to call it, just display, visual display. It has always been a sales supportive entity, but now we really look at it as a sales supportive entity. It's supposed to help create sales and increase sales. So now it's not, we don't call it display, we call it visual merchandising, and it encompasses the entire store inside and out. So store design, which includes everything inside of the store, so the walls, the ceiling, everything in the store, signage, merchandise placement, displays, props, everything that goes within a display. All the atmospherics, the music that you hear, what you see, what you can touch, what you can hear, what you could smell, the brand image, fixtures, you name it, it's all included in visual merchandising. So I did want to show you a quick video, but I'm going to have to do this in class with all the blockers and everything that's on here. I can't seem to get it to work, so I'll show you in class. It's a really nice video, but if you get to see it on your own, I put the link here. And it's really neat. It's the store called Solara, and it shows a before and after. They totally redid the store, and it's really neat because it has some cool music in the background. And it basically they redo the store, and it shows you how the team sat together with the owner, came up with a plan. They did 3D renderings, and they have all the people working in there to actually redo the store. It's really neat because it's a shoe store, and you could see how they got like hundreds of shoes, and they spray painted them white and put them up on the ceiling. So you get to see a little quick, fast edited version of that. So it's really neat to see. So I'll show you in class because you should see that. It's just for whatever reason can't get it to play here right now with the recording software. So again, it's a supportive sales supportive activity. So it supports sales. It needs to help create money. Okay, so successful visual merchandising works along with that promotional mix. Most of you probably should have taken AMM 230, which is fashion promotion, but if you haven't, basically we're using, you know, the product, the price, the place, the promotion, the 4 P's of marketing, and all the different things that you use for marketing. So you can do print ads, obviously commercials, things like that. It kind of works hand in hand with that promotional mix. So you need to be aware of what kind of ads are running on TV, what kind of print ads on magazines, on newspapers, etc. If there's anything in particular on sale, you need to be very aware of. This is an issue with certain stores and the visual merchandising team, because you need to make sure that that stuff, the customer's expecting it. I mean, it's on sale, it's in an ad, it broke in the Sunday newspaper or in a mailer. They're going to go in, they're expecting to find that product. And if it's hard to find or it's not even there, that's a big problem. So you have to make sure that you are extremely aware of what's going on in terms of promotion for the company you work for. You have to appeal to the target market. You're not appealing to you. I get this a lot where, you know, people show me an idea and I'm like, ooh, but you know, they might react this way. And oftentimes the student will tell me, well, I like it. I'd wear that. I'd respond to that. I. And I say, well, that's great, but are you the target customer for this place? And no. Okay, so the way you react and the way they react is 2 different ways, and that's what I'm trying to get at. So you have to appeal to the target market. That's why I underline that. It's not about you, it's about them. They're the ones that are going to fork over the cash to pay for the items, not you. So these are people who fork over that money, and that's really important to understand. So the whole, well, I like it, I respond to it, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, would the customer respond to it? That's what you need to look at. Communicating with customers, that's why I love the name of the book, Silent Selling, because that's what your displays and your visual merchandising pretty much does. It's a silent seller, because you're not there to explain, well, what I'm doing here is that I'm color coordinating so you could see how the neutrals tone down the bright, you know, very trendy color of orchid or of, you know, orange or of, you know, whatever the case may be. So you're not there standing there explaining it to people, so it needs to speak for itself. And if it's confusing, unclear, it can be offensive, and then it becomes a problem. So you need to understand that it's a silent seller. Now we're going to talk about atmospherics a lot, and if I've already used that word, basically what it means, it's all the elements that appeal to our 5 senses. That's a true definition. The idea for visual merchandising is it contributes to the store environment. The only thing for VM is that we mainly focus on four senses because what you see, what you hear, and what you smell, and what you can touch. Taste, not so much. Obviously, you don't want people licking your walls or something. That's gross. But basically, what you hear, the kind of music, the volume, the type of music, all the way to the smells. Does it smell clean? Does it smell like too much does it smell like a dirty bathroom, which is gross? Or does it even smell if too much cleaning uh, supplies, too much cleaning agents? If it smells like you poured bleach on the floor, it's like, what happened? Was this just the scene of a crime? Did you bleach out the floor? Why does it smell like bleach all of a sudden? That can't be good either. So that's something you have to think about. Too much cologne also could be an issue. Too much of a scent. Um, all I know is any mall I go to that's brand new, I've never been to that mall, I can pretty much spot if there's a Hollister in there, because as soon as I take a whiff and I smell that cologne, I know there's a Hollister. I'll be like, oh, there's a Hollister in here. How do you know? I could smell the cologne because they spray it every 30 minutes, and that is some strong cologne. So what you smell, what you feel in terms of textures and visual texture as well. So it's not just what you look at, but what you can hear, what you can smell, etc. So a good example that I did want to show you was the Ralph Lauren store. This is a flagship store, um, and they have two main ones, one for men and one for women in home. But it's on Madison Avenue, and it's really, really nice. It looks amazing, and they do such a good job. It looks like a mansion. It looks like someone's home, and if I can get this to work again, there we go. And it just they do such a good job. It does look amazing. The outside, obviously, the architecture is beautiful, very Ralph Lauren. The entrance is wonderful. But what's great is, yeah, it feels like you're walking in a mansion. It doesn't even feel like a regular store. And the textures, the colors, it really does look amazing. And it does. It feels like it's someone's home. Now, they obviously have mannequins, but it just wonderful, wonderful. And everything's cohesive. Everything feels very Ralph Lauren, warm colors, nothing sterile or cold. It just feels very comfortable and lived in, and it just has the Ralph Lauren look, very consistent, and they do a really good job. So this is a good flagship store to look at. Ralph Lauren, whether you like the aesthetics or not, they've done a really good job with a lot of their retail sectors. And see that in the rooms, just very cohesive, and they look beautiful, immaculate. And you'll never see anything that's out of place or out of touch with the brand. So this is the men's as well. So the men's has a lot of wood, as you can see, a lot of wood, warm, rich tones, and it's just beautiful. It's just a wonderful thing to look at, wonderful thing to experience, beautiful. So definitely take a look at some of these pictures. This is from the Ralph Lauren. It's flagship.ralphlauren.com, and you can see a lot of the pictures. But you can see, again, it just feels like it's a mansion. It's an actual home, and you can, and you're looking at someone's closet. It's almost what it looks like. But wonderful, wonderful experience to go in there. So if you get to go to New York, take a look at that. It's a wonderful, wonderful installation. And I definitely applaud them. They're doing a really good job. Now that one looks totally different from the Alexander McQueen store. Alexander McQueen has very more futuristic, very smooth textures, whereas the Ralph Lauren has more of a textured feel to it. This has more of a contemporary, more modern feel. So it's not going to look like the Ralph Lauren store. It's not supposed to. And that's the whole point. So pushing that retail brand image is really important, and you can't lose track of that. So it has tangible and intangible factors. So just remember, your reputation's at stake. So everything in your store, everything outside of your store, around your store, helps to add or take away from that brand image. So the environment, the staff, how they look like, what they're groomed, how they're groomed, what they're wearing, your fixtures, your lighting, your walls, your floors, your ceiling, the actual location. Smells, the cleanliness, the colors, the interior, the exterior, etc. Everything is included, and it helps to either add or distract from the retail image. A couple areas that tend to be overlooked are restrooms and fitting rooms, believe it or not. So Main thing for the restroom, it has to be clean, but you can actually get a little more personable by adding, kind of interesting signage, for example. Sometimes using humor can work. Maybe a higher class, more elegant signage for the restroom is something you can do. But the main thing is it should be clean. Like, this is good. It's not fancy, but it works. Not so good. I mean, if you have broken sink and caution tape and it stays there for a month, that's terrible. So not good. Dressing rooms, it matches the store. Like, this is a quick change for Old Navy. I mean, they look at that, $10 shirts. You're not breaking the bank here. So this is for a quick change that works for that customer. For others, just a quick little cubicle where you can just change real quick works. For others, you want to add more of that environment. If you're selling higher priced items and you really want to give an experience, then you should do something neater like artwork and kind of a neater experience in the actual fitting room like this. This is pretty neat. Although for whatever reason, I don't understand why they took that picture and did not pick up that hanger, because that really catches my eye. Anyhow, this obviously has more character. This is definitely more upscale, but obviously the price points are much higher, so that's something to be expected. Okay. That new trend in the recent decade is really stretching that brand image. So like I mentioned, straying from that cookie cutter method is something that's the last several decades, and it's proven very successful. So definitely take a look at page 29 in your text. But basically, tailoring stores to your location is kind of the name of the game, and it's just proving to bring in more money. You need to evolve, you need to change, you need to be flexible. If you don't, you leave. I mean, you have competitors always knocking at your doorstep. And knocking at your door. So you need to be flexible and change and yet keep that core brand image. So it's not easy as it sounds. It's actually really difficult, but it is something you have to do. So for example, Victoria's Secret, with the concept of we want to lure the girls when they're younger instead of when they're adults. We want to get them when they're still in high school. Um, but each Victoria's Secret is a little different. The pink section, some will have pink stripes, others will have polka dots. Theming is very important. Like, this is Louis Vuitton. It's the it bag. Everybody wants it. All security cameras are on it because everybody wants to get it. Quiksilver, this is their flagship store. Not all stores look like this, but a lot of surfboards, a lot of cool artwork, because that's their flagship store. Just remember, shopping does communicate. It's a form of communication, and you merchandise products based on shopping patterns and behaviors, which we'll discuss during the quarter. And you highlight the positive, downgrade the negative. Positive is sell more, bestsellers, increase your sales, and negative is reduce theft, in particular internal theft, which is theft by employees. You do need to know how your target customer reacts to visual merchandising. Think about how you react, but don't assume that the target customer will react the same way you are. And just remember that visual merchandising is not just about the actual product, it's about the store environment. Always remember it's always about the customer. Encourage the shopper to enter the store, pause and shop, stay longer, and make purchases and spend more. The longer they stay in your store, the more they'll spend, the more they'll buy, and the more satisfied they are, that will lead to loyalty, which really has been in an all-time low, and it's hard to acquire that brand loyalty. So when you can get it, hold on to it. So as a sales support, it communicates latest trends, assists in buying decisions, and creates an exciting environment. So we're going to be talking about all these throughout the quarter. So just remember, techniques change with the trends. Just careful not to be too trendy and look dated. And on Blackboard, I am going to put a little history of visual merchandising and basic tools and supplies, which are tools of the trade. Okay? So thank you so much for listening, and we will continue with regular lecture next week.